welcome everybody. I see we have a really great turnout. That's always exciting. Welcome everybody. So yeah, I'll jump right in. I'll start with a brief introduction and sort of our agenda for the Twitter space today. So it's an hour-long Twitter space, and we're going to explore the ways in which Web3 is changing the way we all work and the opportunities it presents for us, everyone in the global workforce. We'll also delve into like the unique challenges that companies face in navigating the talent landscape in Web3, the skills and qualities that are in demand in the space, and how professionals can develop them and look more appealing to companies that are looking to hire you, whether they're startups, big corporations, etc. Additionally, we'll discuss how Web3 companies can effectively hire and retain top talent. So in this very on and off, like super demanding and fast-moving industry. So our guest speaker today is Max. He's a founder and CEO of Intropia. So he's helped recruit for many Web3 startups and has a lot of unique insights into the talent landscape and the industry in general. And so the Intropia is a platform that connects Web3 organizations with skilled workers. And he could share his experience and knowledge on how his company is addressing the talent shortage. And if you haven't already taken a look at their website, it's like so super cool. It's like so dope. So I love the website. Yeah, like when Brian first, when we first started talking about doing this Twitter space together, and I saw their website, I was like, yes, definitely. Looks awesome. So I'll go over the structure of the event really quickly. So it's a moderated interview sort of structure. There'll be a discussion followed by a Q&A session with people from the audience. And then Continuum's also offering rewards for anyone that jumps on stage and asks a question. I think we're going to give away a soul-bound token for that, so which is cool. And but we just ask that you keep questions succinct, because I'm sure you all know on Twitter Spaces, like, you know, things can, the time can be used up very quickly. So, so the goal for the discussion, cover that, is really to provide a high level of value to those listening. So it's very exciting to do this. So there's a lot of opportunity right now, but these are also like slightly uncertain times, and there's scary stuff going on as well. So hopefully we can give you some comfort and some actionable takeaways to get going and find out, do whatever you want to do, if it's get a job, upskill, etc. So let me see. Well, all right, I think I covered all those points. So without further ado, I'll just jump into our intros, get those out of the way and dive in. I'll give you like a quick 60-second rundown on my background and how it relates to the topic for today, and how it can, you know, provide you with useful and actionable information. So I'm Jason Curry, the founder and CEO of Continuum. So we are a learning platform that's helping upskill people around the world that are digital workers. So basically, if you're a designer or developer, we'll help you gain the skills you need, and also help with sort of soft skills with like interviewing and looking for places to find work. And we're really focused on like sort of a 0 to 1, like getting people that are just starting out, getting them to like really take a first big step toward thriving as like an independent digital worker. So designer, illustrator, developer, and whatnot. So prior to Continuum, I ran an app development studio in New York City called Worry Free Lab. So we had about 30 people in our office there, and over the course of like 10 years, I hired about 200 contractors all over the world. So designers and developers again, and that was done almost exclusively by me. So I do have a lot of advice to share on how to look very appealing to people that you want to hire you. Again, whether that's at startups or agencies, are a big opportunity that I think are typically overlooked for people that are looking for work, as well as like big corporations. And there's pros and cons to all this. So yeah, hopefully I can really help you in that department. So now I'd like to introduce Max. As I mentioned, the founder and CEO of Intropia. Max, if you would, please take the stage and tell us a bit about yourself and Intropia.
Hey everyone, thank you for hosting this space. It's a pleasure to be here. So I'm Max, I'm the founder and CEO of Intropia. We're building a positive sum ecosystem that brings unlimited benefits to individuals and organizations in Web3. Essentially, we create an open introduction market and allow anyone to become an introducer to capitalize on their network and audience while giving startups and DAOs access to the pool of quality and privated candidates. So we started with a great Web 2.5 product that is good enough for now to serve the needs of free startups and the community. Yet the future of work on the global scale have a few challenges that we want to solve with the free technological stack, such as trust between parties, composability of user data, provable reputation, and programmed contracts. Before Intropia, I was the co-founder of the recruitment agency Frontrunners, where I was responsible for product offering, team building and education, client acquisition. And before, I ran a pretty successful crypto marketing agency, Byzantium. We raised more than 150 mil for our clients in 2017-18. And before and after, I was the CMO and advisor for several projects in crypto, helping them with strategy and growth.
Awesome, great, very significant background in the space for it being fairly new, Web3. But like you said, a lot comes from the Web 2 and Web 2.5 space. So the first question I'll start with is like, how do you see Web3 changing the way that we work, and what are the opportunities that you think it presents for people that are listening right now in the global workforce in general?
So I think the biggest change that we witness is that now work is focused is not centered around the organizations but the contributors. And if 20 years ago you had one job, or you've been an entrepreneur, or you've been a trader, now you working full time here, contributing there, trading shitcoins in the morning, investing in angel rounds in the evening, and contributors became very multitasking, and now they're trying to not just have one job, but constantly develop themselves, educate themselves, try different things. And I think the biggest opportunity is the ownership that Web3 contributors can obtain in organizations they contribute to. I think this is something that really excites me and makes work more meaningful for everyone involved.
Yeah, I agree with that. I love the ownership aspect that Web3 brings to the table, and the search for meaning. I think that's more important than ever, especially now with AI too. It's really making us question like the meaning of it all, because it's like, yeah. Could you elaborate a little more on the ownership angle of it? So when you see, I like what you said about it's more about contributors than the companies. Now, what are the practical aspects of when you say like ownership as a contributor to a project? What does that look like? Are you talking on-chain proof that you've done work or contributed to a project?
Yeah. So it started in Silicon Valley with stock options to the founding team members, and now in Web3 it just became some default option. When you join the company, salary is good, but you also looking for equity options, token options. If you contributing to DAO, you earn reputation, and you have more ownership in the organizations you contribute to. And another aspect is that this, like, your contribution in one organization can be proved and used to access new opportunities and new deals, because your on-chain reputation might be leveraged in many different ways. And for example, you're using Gnosis Safe, now it's just Safe, and new project launch like Optimism, and they give you airdrop just for being active user or contributor in other organizations, and this creates this new land of opportunities where your reputation is transferable and portable, and not locked into one specific company or corporation.
I know, I love that. That's one of the coolest things. That's another cool thing, like, that gets me so excited about talking about this. But yeah, it's so great. It's like a true, I don't know, people are truly independent. It just, the only comparison I've seen is like reading science fiction and things in the past, but it's interesting. You're really valued as like what you bring. You're like a true independent operator, and you could contribute to so many things. You contribute to multiple things at once. So I think that's exciting and fun. And I think it works, like, for my brain at least too. I love being a part of different things. And I think, like, historically, we've always been like, we've rewarded and punished people, like, well, for the opposite. We rewarded them for the opposite, get a career, get your job, work your 9 to 5, don't do anything on the side, like, stay focused. Like, we look at your LinkedIn, why did you only do 3 months here, 6 months here? But now those used to be like red flags, but now I feel like it's changing a bit. It's a lot more friendly. It's friendlier in those ways to the contributors, So I think that's wonderful. And I think it's better for the whole ecosystem too, because then more projects are getting touched by more people, and they're getting all those independent thoughts that come together, or people working together. So I love that part. It's very exciting. So let's move to the part about, like, the companies then. So what do you think? How do you think companies can effectively navigate, like, the talent webscape and Web3? And are there any, like, what are the unique challenges that they are facing now, particularly with, like, Web3 companies and people hiring, like, Web3 savvy people?
So I think the biggest challenge here is to find people with great Web2 background and skills and standards of work, and Web3 and the deep Web3 understanding and passion to the decentralized technologies. Because two poles is Web3 kids that don't know how to work, basically how to do classical marketing, engineering, whatever, and they reinvent wheel again and again, and you need to educate them on how to get things done. And on the other side is people that come from big tech, from Web2, and they trying to adopt the same principles to Web3, especially when it comes to growth and community building, and they don't work because the ethos of the community and the way we see things is very different from Web2, and the biggest challenge is to find people that combine these high standards and professionalism from old world and mindset from the new world. And another thing, which is we just discussed, is that lots of people don't want to have a full-time job. They want to contribute, and even if they agree to have a full-time job, they still doing so much side hustle that it makes hard to measure your contribution in the company. And in general, there is huge talent deficit in the world, especially for senior plus talent, and is even more fair for Web3. So it's just hard to source, is hard to assess, it's hard to retain, and I don't see it becomes any easier even during bear market. I mean, it's became slightly easier, but it was overheated a lot. But it's still a huge deficit of talent, and we're trying to help solving it.
Oh yeah, those are really great points. I know I see the same thing. I remember like last summer before things started to sort of decline, and we were looking for an additional blockchain developer, and we were just getting the most insane salary. Like people wanted like $500,000 like a year for like a blockchain developer.
Right.
It's gone down, yeah, a lot more than that, but it's gone down a lot, but yeah, but it's still obviously in demand. But yeah, so again, yeah, so glad we're doing this Twitter space. I like the information you're dropping here is so awesome and so I think insightful because but I love that you say yeah, like people want to work on several things and it is so different for yeah, it depends too. I think that's an important thing people want to keep in mind, depending on the kind of job they're looking for. Like, because you mentioned people coming from a big company, enterprise company, versus someone that has come from startup background or wants to work for startups. They are so completely different. And I've done work for both. Yeah, and I think startups are a lot more open, definitely a lot more open to this lifestyle of people working on a bunch of different things. I think it's going to take a while, in my opinion, for like for the corporate world to adopt to it. They're still very like old school, and yeah, it's weird. You know, I could be on a startup on a video call with a startup, or I don't know, cooler companies, younger companies, and you know, like when you're on a Zoom call, you can be very flexible. Like I have kids, they can run around in the background. You can have a dog, like things like that. And I'm still surprised, like sometimes, you know, and I'm on like a call with like a big company when I was still doing freelance work. You know, they'll like legitimately get angry, like, you know, get your kids out of there, or why are you, you know, it's just so weird, like that old school philosophy. But I think thankfully that's going away, and this whole new model excites me in it. So glad to talk about it, and I'm excited people have these opportunities now. Um, so okay, let's jump back then now to the talent side of it. And I'm curious, and I think maybe I have some thoughts to contribute on this as well because it fits more with my background. But like, what skills and qualities are in demand in the Web3 space right now, like across the board, from the range from like designers to developers to copywriters, social media marketers, like everything in between. And how broad subject, but so what are the qualities that are in demand in the Web3 space right now that people are hiring for? And how can people do like the upskilling or professional development to get those skills or grow them?
hmm So I think the most common quality that companies looking in future contributors is sanity. Just being,
Is what? Sorry, say
reliable.
it. Oh
Sanity.
yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just being reliable and get shit done, basically. But if we speak about if more serious, then it's just understanding of what Web3 is and what opportunities it has, and just at least high level understanding of the main concept in terms of layer ones, layer twos, DeFi's, NFTs, reputation, infrastructure, and just some basic concepts and understanding why we're here in terms of data protection, unstoppable organizations, ownership, and if you have this, then going deeper into specific concepts or learning new trends in the space is so much easier. And I think every single Twitter space, every single chat with new people, I recommend to start with Bitcoin white paper and Ethereum white paper, because like 60%, if not more, of the people working in Web3 never read them. And if you read the Bitcoin and Ethereum white papers, you'll be more, I know, intelligent and aware about what's going on and why we are doing this than people that could spend like few years flipping NFTs in the space, you know. When we speak about the roles or specific skill sets that are in demand in the Web3 space, I would say that is always engineers. I think we have enough Solidity engineers at the moment. We're still very short on Rust and Move developers. Another trend is that we move from building infrastructure to building applications on top of this infrastructure, and almost every single company is looking for great product managers, product owners that again have like deep understanding of Web3, that are Web3 native citizens, that have experience in building successful products in Web2, and they need to combine this methodology with the need of this young new industry. And during bear market, it's a bit less demand for community management professionals, but still, for example, Rarible is looking for head of community, and we chat with Alex yesterday, and his like job requirements is so high that I'm not sure like how fast he can find this person, because to find community moderator is very, very easy, right? But to find a community lead for a multi-billion-dollar project is so hard and is almost impossible. So it's not about like the specific skill sets, is about the senior talent in almost any skill set you can pick. And how you can develop it. So first of all, Continuum, and you just do your research. I think we will touch our free contributor survey a bit later, but almost 50% of people working in Web3 spend 10 to 30 hours per week just on self-education. I remember myself in 2016, 17, I was just opening the CoinMarketCap, going to every single project and learning what they do, reading their white papers and so on. Now it's impossible. Now there's hundreds of projects launching every month, but still opening the, DApp list, opening Product Hunt, opening CoinMarketCap, and just researching the projects, testing them with real money, providing liquidity, trading, earning soulbound NFTs, bridging. It's not only educate you, but also gives you a chance to have some nice airdrops in the future. So yeah, just go and try everything, and speak to people that are in the space, go to the conference, and learn from everyone you can learn from everything you can learn.
Yeah, a lot of great points. Yeah, I know this. I think, I've been in the tech space for so long, and I do find that Web3 has been, to me, the most challenging to learn a lot about, because it's just, I guess the, no pun or no joke, but it seems like the information, like, to learn is a bit decentralized. You can't find I mean, it's better now. It is a lot better. There's a lot of good content, but even like a few years ago, like in 2014, like before I think it was before CoinMarketCap, I had a site that was called CoinSoup, with an app where it was kind of like an early version of CoinMarketCap, where I would talk. I think we had on there like 200 tokens, but back then, altcoins, as we called them back then. And then, to get information, now, like, you had to reach out to people. You had to actually reach out to the individual founder, get the information. I mean, you still do that to some extent, but there were no like oracles or things like that. Well, we were trying to kind of be one at that time, but yeah, it's changed so much. So there's a lot more information out there. Just like what you said about engineers always in demand. True. One thing you said that I think really resonated with me as someone who hires is, like, I don't think people realize like how important it is and how much it will set you apart if you are simply reliable and not flaky. Like, it's crazy. And I think I just took I think you're from, well, I don't want to guess where you're from, but in my experience, so I had a lot of employees in the United States, I had a lot of employees offshore, primarily like in Ukraine and Russia and Belarus, Kazakhstan, and also then in like in Southeast Asia and stuff like that. And one thing I noticed that I appreciated, which made me hire more in that area, is and this, I can't generalize everybody, but I feel like a lot of times we hired like people in America, they were a little more entitled, had a tendency to be flakier. But when I hired people in those other areas I mentioned, specifically like in the Ukraine or Indonesia, for example, really top quality people that were like very grateful for the work, very, very reliable, always kept in touch, never flaky. You could always depend on them consistently over years. And I think when you're looking for a job, I think you really have to sort of send those indicators to people that's how you are. It's not something you can tell people. That's the worst. You can't say like, I'm a very dedicated and reliable person. Like, it's the worst if you say that. But don't say that. But be very responsive. Like, be very consistent. Communicate very well. Even if you don't have an immediate answer, if you're talking to someone, say like, great question, or this or that. Like, I'll get back to you. Like, always give them sort of like an immediate sort of feedback for the next step. I think that's super helpful. That could be one of possibly the key things that I look for to hire, and it's like one of the easiest things to do. Well, great. We talked about a lot of interesting things, infrastructure, moving applications. I think that's really cool. But yeah, another great thing you mentioned: product managers with experience building successful products. I think too that's for startups. I think it's important to hire product managers that come from like a more agile background. Like, I have had the experience of hiring. I don't think hiring product managers from a huge corporation or from enterprises fit very well with startups, because with a startup you have to like move really quickly, do things really quickly, and I feel like I've hired product managers from big companies in the past, and that's really against every like grain of their being to do that. They want to be, they want to get a lot of things set up in Jira, be very formal on how you do things, and it takes a long time, which is great for the later stage. But when you're a startup, I think you gotta do things a lot more quickly. You gotta ship quickly, iterate quickly, do short sprints, all that stuff. So, all right. So let me jump to the next question. I think you covered the next question I was going to ask. I said like, well, I guess what are some? Well, I can ask you, like, what are the most exciting opportunities you see in Web3? But I think you sort of covered some of those things. I think Move might fall into that category. I think the open network, like Ton, from Telegram. I don't know if there's any other quick things you want to add as far as like maybe new, like developing things that are exciting in Web3, maybe like blockchain related AI, stuff like that, or.
Yeah. So I think here we can divide it in like three category. First is new chains, as you mentioned, Move-based chains like Aptos and Sui. I hear lots of great feedback from the developers on how cool is it to build on Move, and I witness very big interest from the community during ETH Denver. So I think Move is going to be a pretty big thing. Another is just it's like app chains. So it's what Cosmos does, what Optimism launched with their like super chain, or how it called, or is what Starkware does with their StarX or StarkNet. I'm sorry. So this is another thing that might be interested in terms of chains. In terms of sub industries, I'm bullish on Web3 social, and I'm bullish on Web3 reputation, and I believe that the next generation of airdrops is not going to be based on how many bots you can launch to drop hunt some of the new protocols, but it's about your actual soulbound reputation and how useful you can be for the new protocol and the new project. Mm.
Ooh, I love that soul-bound reputation. That's amazing. Yeah, and it's true. Um, yeah, it kind of expands on kind of what we've hired people, or how we've like hired people like historically, I guess, before the internet and things like that. Everything was your your kind of your soul-bound reputation, and then I think we went to
Right.
an era where it was a little different, but I think we're coming back to that. It's kind of cool. Can you elaborate more on what you find besides the Web3 reputation? What about Web3 social? What sort of things do you see
Mm.
in that space that interest you, if you have anything in particular?
So for the free social, I see two main things. First is data compatibility,
Uh,
and that you don't lock your data into Facebook or Instagram. Your data is on underlying social graph, and you can use same lens or CyberConnect profile across different applications, and it allows like much higher velocity of innovation and product competition, where network effects are on the infrastructure level but not on the application layer, and it might be worse for products and applications to retain their users, but from other side it makes it so much easier to attract and onboard new users because they already have all the information, and you don't need to over incentivize people for just like profile completion and this kind of stuff. And second part of why I'm bullish on the free social is I'm bullish and bearish at the same time here. So you can connect financial transactions to your attention, and you can incentivize, like you can buy someone's attention in a transparent way, not given 90% to the Facebook or 100% to the Facebook, but given 100% to the protocol that, or to the DAO that operates the application which you're using. And we haven't seen any, I mean, I haven't seen any really innovative product that kind of, reimagine, reinvent the social. Currently, all the Lens and CyberConnect applications are basically copycats from the Twitter and I know Reddit and so on. But I believe that it's just like the first stage, and smart, intelligent people are already building something radically new that is possible only in Web3, and it's not Web3 Twitter. Is the new ways to communicate and to find meaningful relations and so on. So actually, I saw one, and I've got invited yesterday there. It's called Kelt, is a pseudonymous social
oh, it
network
is.
for
How do you
founders
spell that?
and VC.
Sorry.
KELT. It's built
KELT.
by, yeah, it's
Cool.
built by
Pseudonym.
Big Whale Labs. It's our client, and you can make a few $1,000 referendum senior engineers.
Nice.
Yeah, so basically it's pseudonymous social network where you can chat with other VCs and founders, and you don't know who they are. And one guy was kind of doxxed because of his specific style of writing, and now they're trying to add ChatGPT, like middleware between user and the community, so ChatGPT can rewrite your messages to make them even more untraceable. So this is something very
Wow.
very cool. And this Big Whale Labs, they have this another product called Silkret, which allows you to prove that you work in Intropia or in Continuum, not revealing who you are. So basically, you create a ZK badge for your @intropia.io email, and then you can create, let's say, anonymous Glassdoor, which is impossible to fake. So this kind of use cases might be very, very interesting and big in the future.
No, that's really interesting. Yeah, I love what you said about that. Or Chat GTP as a middleware. I've never heard anyone describe it like that, but that's awesome. Yeah. I think that's really cool to think about. Like, I wonder if Satoshi Nakamoto's from the future, because maybe he used like Chat GTP to deliberately obfuscate like his writing style and throw in some false clues about being from the UK or whatnot. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. You could really have that true, I guess, pseudo anonymity. Kind of reminds me of books like Snow Crash, or going back to Neuromancer and things like that, where they were so ahead of their time, where people were, they went by their online avatars in the metaverse and things like that. It's really it's just fascinating. It's awesome. It's just a whole different phase of humanity. It's very interesting. One thing I noticed that was really cool, I do love like the composability at the infrastructure layer. So what I would say is like, so you could take it with you everywhere, because I think that's going to happen in the future. Like, one thing I really loved when I went to ETH Denver was that when I opened up my wallet at the airport on my phone, my Apple Wallet, it said, hey, as a Denver resident, you can add your driver's license now to your wallet, and you don't need to carry your physical driver's license anymore. And I'm like, oh, that's so awesome. Things like that. And obviously, eventually, I think that will all sort of amalgamate together into like a single, sort of, I guess, on-chain identity and reputation. So I guess the only problem I see with that later is like, if you have things there that you want people to forget, then, maybe that'll be bad. But
right.
Yeah, right.
Or if someone steals your wallet, right, and now they are you.
Yeah. A funny thing in like one of the Star Wars, I can't remember what it was, like episode 3 or something, where the information in the archives was gone, and it sounded to me like they used something like blockchain, because they were like, it's impossible for data to be gone. How did that happen? And remember when they hid the location of I think Camino, the planet. Anyway, but so I always look to sci-fi as like what we'll have in the future, because a lot of it becomes reality eventually. But let me jump to the next question here. I think we'll, and I'll start with the answer on this one, and then let you go from there. But and the question is, what advice do either one of us have for individuals that are looking to break into the Web3 industry, or for companies that are looking to enter the space and build a strong team? So I think I can answer more let me try to answer both. My initial thoughts are build. So here's it. As someone hiring now, I do hire for Continuum, but just a little bit, not on the volume that I hired for when I had an agency. I was always hiring people every single week. So I'll kind of like map that that experience to this advice. So I would say build a strong Web3 specific portfolio, and particularly with like on-chain reputation or evidence that you've contributed to some of these projects. I would say at least have a couple things specifically in your portfolio, whether you're a developer or designer, that are Web3. And it's better to have like a few that you can really, I think, that you've contributed a lot to in a lot of different ways, and that you can expand upon that, or have maybe even like a case study. I personally like case studies. I think those are good, because then it kind of shows you like problem and solution, and how you think about problem solving and whatnot, and then what your solution was and how you implemented it. What you said before, I think, is very important. Get involved in Web3 Twitter. It's very unique in that you can, everybody's there on Twitter, so you can really get involved in the space and meet people, and that will result in meeting other people. Go to events. I think there's events everywhere now, of course, in the big cities, but I think they're all over. I think warm intros help a lot with getting jobs, or maybe not even for the initial, like I think they could still use, platforms like yours to find work, of course. But I think that if you have some connections as well to a project, I think that can help too. Going back to, again, what you said about being a contributor, just be a contributor. Like, so get involved with anything you can, like DAOs, helping out with projects for free, just more activity in the space in general. Upskilling, like I think you also commented on, I think that was great. 50% of people are spending a lot of time continually upskilling. I think, especially right now when there's so much emerging technology, now more than ever, you have to upskill. And obviously that's a little plug for us because that's what we provide, upskilling on Continuum. One thing I'll add before I jump, ask you what you think. I mentioned be reliable, don't be a flake. Obviously, that should be taken for granted. But and I think another thing that I always look for is learn one thing really well. So if there's something in the space that particularly draws your attention in Web3, whether it's, I don't know, tokenomics or on-chain reputation, like we said before, or a particular L1 or L2 or whatever it is, find one thing that you can learn really well so that you're like an expert on that. Because when I would hire people, I would get excited about the people I talked to that knew more than I did about something else. I wasn't, like usually as the person hiring, you might know more. Well, sometimes than the people you're hiring, but I always look. You know how they say surround yourself with smart people. I would always look for people that knew something that I didn't know, and that got me excited. Like, oh, this person really knows about this particular topic. Maybe even if it didn't apply, but it just kind of gets you excited. So those are my things that I would offer up to people looking to break into Web3. Do you have anything that you would add to that?
Yeah, I cannot be more agree than that you should be like really obsessed with some things and be like very, very knowledgeable about them. And if you come to the interview and you can teach me on whatever you do, whether it's business development, copywriting, whatever, it gives you so many points, and it's such a big green flag to invite you at least for the next stage of the interviews. Um, I, I don't want to like spend too much time here. You covered almost everything. I'll give just
Sure.
two advice. First is do freelance or do bounties, and there is like so easy to add, I don't know, Ethereum Foundation or any other foundation to your CV, just simply contributing to some tasks like translations or I mean, like depending on your skill, it might be some development, it might be some copywriting, it might be some business development, event organizations, but you need this like brands on your CV because it always it works. It might be stupid, but it works. And another non-obvious advice here is that like tier one companies, like big companies, I know like Binance, Coinbase, whatever, they don't have like lower bar, but they have more resources to hire people with great soft skills and educate them and onboard them properly into Web3 than trying to get into like fast growing startup that is looking just for people that can come and ship, you know. So if you're just starting, go to the bigger companies that have more resources to educate and to make you more professional before you can switch to startups, DAOs, and so on.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's something that we've heard a lot of demand from people in our community about, and that we're adding. So we're starting to add the skills involved or that you need to get a job, like to interview and things like that, and how to get sort of the mise en place, like everything in place to prepare you to be very presentable and appealing to people that will hire you. So we are running a little short on time. So Max, why don't I ask you? I have a few questions left, but why don't I turn it over to you and ask you if there's anything in particular that you would like to mention and talk about, I guess, for this last 5 minutes, and then I'll kind of summarize our final thoughts, and then we'll open it up to Q&A.
Sure. So I would like to bring up our thesis, which we building like our product around, is that introduction is the most valuable asset in the world and in the Web3 specifically, in particular. So there's no better way to find a job, find a talent, find an investor, find a company to invest, find people to hang out with, to be mentored by. So don't just try to make it on your own. Find people that made it and just speak to them. People that made it are usually very open to help others to make it and to achieve the same success. And it's fair for everyone. And what we're trying to build is like decentralized introduction platform where you can find like literally anyone in Web3 or any opportunity in Web3, and hopefully we can make it and make your life, guys, even easier when it comes to recruitment, employment, deal making, investment, and so on.
Yeah, that's awesome. I would say I love what you said. I think I got it correctly here. Maybe I'm going to paraphrase, but introduction is the most powerful currency in the world. Is that kind of summarize what you said? Maybe you didn't say currency, but
Yep. I said asset, but probably currency is the better word.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah, that's one for the history books. That's great. That's awesome. And also don't try to make it on your own. I think that's important. And I think also one of the great qualities about Web3 is that it is so different than sort of the tech scene before it. It is full of people that are really trying to help other people. And it's cliche to say, but make the world a better place, because everyone in Silicon Valley, it's a worn out trope that we're changing the world, we're making it a better place, when it was like, no, you just want to make money. And of course everyone wants to make money. We're still a capitalist society, but I feel like now there is truth to it now, though. I feel like with Web3, I do really feel like that first and foremost, people are really trying to make the world a better place with what we're doing. So I'll kind of leave that part on its own. And then, so I guess I'll do a quick summary here, if I may. Let's see. Yeah, I'll just do a quick summary, and then we could jump into a QA. Or actually, let me see here. I kind of don't want to bore everyone with the summary, because I think maybe we're a bit redundant with it already. So why don't I open it up and see if anybody has any questions. So we have 10 minutes left, so we could do questions for 10 minutes, or probably for 9 minutes. So yeah, I guess who would like to ask a question? Who wants to take the stage? And remember, we'll be giving out rewards for anyone that hops up here and asks something. Oh my God, we have a lot of people, like 500 people in here, so it's good. Let's see. I don't think I see anyone. Here we go. Where did I just see some?
While people thinking about the questions, I have a question for you. Oh, we've got a speaker.
Ruben, yep. Oh yeah, yep. Sure. But yeah, I can.
I can wait.
Oh no! Go.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Ruben. You can.
Sure.
Thank you, though, Ruben.
Yeah, no worries. So TLDR, I've been looking into maybe not layer 1, but like layer 2 protocols for figuring out how we might do W2s and 1099s and employment type infrastructure that you might have in a regular nation state but applied to a decentralized environment. And I think one thing that's going to be particularly important is attestations, verifiable attestations. So what I mean by that?
Oh, sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like I came across this thing called Trust Graph about 6 months ago, and it's really simple. I can say that, let's say I'm a plumber, and nobody might believe me, but if I go to another third-party organization like the Master Plumbers Association of whatever country, and they sort of verify that attestation, then you can have sort of like multi-party sort of trust graph type qualifications, as opposed to something like LinkedIn, where people give me a thumbs up for being really good at high fives or something. Like there's no actual sort of verifiability on a lot of the existing social networks. So I'm wondering, has anybody seen reliable frameworks, or perhaps frameworks that are growing in adoption for the ability for an individual using a decentralized identifier, right, or a wallet or something, to say, this thing is true, and for others to say I agree that it's true, or I disagree that it's true, or here's a new attestation that relates to that? Because I think that could be really useful for some stuff, but I haven't found anybody like with a decent deployment yet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Right.
No, it makes Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Max. Or who is it? Who is commenting?
Me. I think there is project that are building such tools. I think you're talking about zero knowledge proofs. So proving without having to show to the other party that the information that you're proving is true. So I think there are some applications, but I can't remember what the names are right now. But I'm sure there are some applications or tools and startups that are building to prove a freelancer or a person's skills in using zero knowledge proof. So there are tools like Polygon ZK, EVM, and different Scroll as well on Polygon, I think. Yeah. So there are various tools out there that you can use to prove using zero knowledge technology to prove certain things. Yeah.
So can I delineate here a little bit? Huge fan of zero knowledge
you're
proofs.
talking about something else, right?
Super useful. Yeah, this is more trust graph. Just a ledger where somebody can say a thing, and somebody else can agree with that thing, disagree with that thing, or say a new thing that relates to that thing. Super simple, like Wikipedia, right?
I got you. Yeah, I think, it's interesting because I always thought like proof of attestation would be kind of a cool protocol. I think it's very interesting. I am a little bit into real estate, and I have some commercial or apartment buildings or whatever. But one of the things that's always interested me is like titles and title insurance and deeds and real estate records, because it's such a bureaucratic system and it's awful. Yeah. And you end up paying like $5,000 a year for someone just to keep a record of your title, and basically it is attestation. They're basically saying, you pay me $5,000 and I'm going to say, yes, you own the title to this. So that's something that blockchain can almost completely get rid of. It's almost like when you say plumbers, I think of Angie's List, but that's a terrible platform too, because people game it and then you have to pay a lot for it. But just to answer your question, I've seen a little bit of this in real estate, or at least people talking about it. But I think you're almost looking for, correct me if I'm wrong, are you kind of looking for a green light to like maybe develop this yourself or something? Because I think it's a very fascinating space.
To be honest, I desperately do not want to develop it, but I may have to if nobody else builds the thing, right? What I want to build is like a peer-to-peer Upwork, but that's going to be really hard without being able to confirm or deny that this person has the qualification that they say they have, right? Sure. So we need a really simple way for a university to be like, yep, we see that person says that they have a CS degree or a Juris Doctorate or whatever, and we can confirm or we can deny, right?
Sure, yeah.
But without that, it's going to be a nightmare. So I'm hoping somebody else has built it so I can just be their customer.
Right. Yeah, I think it... Oh, sorry. I bet Max has some input on this. I think it's a super interesting space, or maybe. Well, I guess other people have some. I thought someone had a question. Never mind.
I'll give a very short opinion. So I see, and unfortunately, I see that one of the biggest traps that lots of people get into again and again is trying to use Web3 to solve like Web2 problems, or trying to breach off-chain reputation to on-chain, or this kind of stuff. So there's lots of on-chain reputation and attestation that is already there. And for example, you can just take the wallet and see if the wallet owner was deploying smart contracts or voting in DAOs or having specific certificates from, I'm sorry, from like not on-chain educators, but like Web3 education providers, or even being like active trader on specific protocol or specific DApp is also reputation which is already on-chain and which is already provable. Another problem that it should be first soul-bound, so you cannot just move NFT from one wallet to another wallet, and now another wallet is I don't know, expert in Solidity, for example, right? Or even if it's your wallet, how you can prove that it's you using this wallet, not you lending your wallet to some some guy that you use it to access the jobs. So what we are trying to do is to leverage on-chain data as much as possible and to create a system where people and companies incentivized in giving like fair reviews and references to each other, and where we can track your, let's say, contribution history, where we can source data from Coordinate or SourceCred or all other protocols that use as in-DAO reputation. But I don't see any elegant, comprehensive solution to solve them all. So it's like, you know, Wild West of reputation, where everyone does protocols, interfaces, and produce lots of like reputation events, but we need to wait for another maybe 3 to 5 years to have one protocol to unite all the infrastructure and one interface to unite all the data across different protocols.
Yeah, that's good. Well, actually, we have 2 minutes left, so I think I think probably just wrap it up here, if I might. I'm gonna, in closing, I feel like it's getting a bit off topic for people looking for work, but so I just want to kind of recap some of the key points for people that are looking for work and people that are looking to hire people in Web3, and then just wrap it from there. We have 2 minutes left, so I think some of the key things were to contribute. So everyone's looking for on-chain proof of contributions. It's more about the contributor now, less about the particular organization. So get out there, contribute, meet people. That's very important. If you're going to be in Web3, like Max said, read the Bitcoin white paper, read the Ethereum white paper at minimum. You can read some other ones, but I think those are the key ones to do. I would probably say learn about tokenomics. You don't have to be an expert on it, but you at least have to understand how the basics of a token ecosystem work and how they're looking to build value from that, and governance and utility and whatnot. It's not about the position when you're hiring someone or you're looking to be hired. It's about sort of the seniority or the experience that you have. The more experience you have, the more demand you'll be in, obviously, or maybe not as obviously to some people. But also experiment, try everything. It's a new and emerging space. A lot of new things are popping up every day. Learn from people, make friends, see what, people that share interests with you, and start just jumping in and learning things, and back to contribute. Max noted an interesting statistic. I don't know if it's maybe just his own, but I think we have a sort of similar read on this as well, that 50%, or a lot of people in Web3 spend a lot of time on self-education, like 10 to 30 hours a week. That's definitely what we heard, I'd say about a year ago, and we really pivoted hardcore into the education component of what we're doing and the short form content as well. And another big thing, which I think resonates well with me, so I think it's key thing that will get you hired, is if you could teach me something, that's a huge green flag that's going to move you to the next round of an interview, whether it's for a full-time job or just as a contractor. Have something that that the person or the organization hiring you doesn't know. In some cases, it's going to be a lot. But if you're just starting out, find some things. If you're jumping into your career, have something to teach the company or the person that's hiring you. Another quote from Max: "Introduction is the most powerful currency in the world." I think that's an awesome one. I think he should put it in his Twitter profile. But anyway, and I think that's about it. So if anyone, there was another question. I guess we're at the hour, so if anyone wants to jump off, go for it. But if there's another question, I'll definitely... Oh, yeah, I'll stay on. I can stay on as well. And if anyone else wants to stay on to answer questions, I'm happy to stay on for a little while longer if people have questions. So I'm here for that. So, well, thanks, everyone, for coming. And, like I said, I'll be on. So take care, everyone that has to hop. And have a great rest of your week and weekend. And good luck with whatever you're trying to do.